So hey guys, welcome back to our channel, and today we are at the DFRobot Factory, the world's most loved brand for maker products. Now, if you're a regular follower of our channel, well, you must be aware about this brand, as we have covered a lot of their products like the HuskyLens, offline voice recognition module, or maybe the latest one, Unihiker K10. Well, all these amazing boards are from DFRobot, and in this video, we're gonna see how our favorite development boards and sensors are designed, manufactured, tested, and shipped around the world. So this is the factory tour of DFRobots. So let's check it out. So before starting with the factory tour, I was having a couple of questions for the team, so let's ask them first. Okay, so I'm with Rockets right now, who will be hosting us for the complete factory tour. So thank you so much, Rockets, for having us here. And Rockets, first of all, I would like to know, like, if we move on to the manufacturing and the factory tour, the very first step of any product is the idea. So I want to know how DFRobot decides which product to build next. How do you decide?
Okay, I think that DFRobot may decide which product to develop from three perspectives. The one is for the user's needs. Second is for the industry trends.
Okay.
And the third is from our team's own maker requirements.
Wow, that's a great way. Like your team itself is a maker, and you decide like this one your requirement, you go with the product, and also you think of the engineering institutes and the makers perspective as well.
Yeah,
wonderful. So after deciding the idea, what's the next step in the production?
I think they will be going to the R&D department, research and development board.
Oh, so can we check it out?
Yes, of course. Why not?
Let's go.
Let's go.
So after getting my answers, we started exploring the factory, starting with the R&D department first.
And this is our R&D department, research and department.
Oh, this is the R&D department.
Yes.
Okay. So how many people do we have in your R&D department?
I think we have several dozen of them. We have PCB design. We have firmware software. We have a software department, and we have mechanical design, and we have a content research team.
Wow. So all the teams are here?
No, mechanical and product manager is in Shanghai's office.
Oh, so you have another office in Shanghai?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe if I ask, so majority of our audience is the students, okay? So if I ask you a specific question, then which software do you use for your PCB designing of your product?
So every PCB design is based on KiCad.
KiCad, okay.
Yes.
And next thing, which IDE do you use to program your boards?
I believe that the most used widely is VS Code.
Okay.
With some plugin. Yeah.
So after like the R&D department designs the PCB, so next step is like PCB manufacturing. So do you have PCB manufacturing here, or you outsource it?
Yeah, we take our very strong partner for PCB manufacturing.
So you outsource it?
Yes, because they have a very professional produce.
Right. So okay. So after the PCB get designed, now it's time for assembly.
Yes. So that's why we came to our product workshop, and we will see how we assemble our PCB.
Wow. Interesting. So let's check it out.
Let's check out.
See you. So after they get the PCBs of their product, it's sent to the assembly line, and to go inside the assembly line, we need to prepare ourselves first. So first, we need to cover our shoes with this plastic to make sure we don't carry any dust particles in the room. And later, we also need to wear the special clothes for EST protection and a cap so that we don't fall our heads in the room. Looks like the workers are ready to build something, right? Anyways, before moving ahead, we need to touch this pole that instantly grounds all the static electricity in our body. Now, before entering the assembly line, we need to pass through this air room that helps us to remove all the dust particles from our clothes. And now, we are ready to explore the assembly line. So the assembly process starts with placing the PCBs in this PCB feeder. Later, the PCB will go in the next step, where the machine will apply the solder paste on it. After applying the solder paste, now the machine will start putting up the SMT components on the PCB one by one. Now this machine is already being programmed to let it know where to place which component with the help of the pick and place file. Later, after placing all the SMT components on the PCB, it will move into this oven where the PCBs will be heated from 130 degrees Celsius at the beginning till 260 degrees Celsius maximum, and later let it cool down. And after getting the soldered PCB, they first do the visual inspections about the soldering, and later they put it in this AOI, or we can say automatic optical inspection machine, to see if the solder is done properly or not. So after like the assembly and this AOI testing, what is the next step?
They have some through hole soldering.
Yeah.
So we have going to manually soldering.
Oh, so let's check that out.
So let's check out. Yeah.
Okay. So after the SMT components, some products do require to solder the DIP components as well. So they all do it manually in this section. Later, after soldering part, the final product is ready for testing. Now this part was quite interesting as the team were having different methods to test out different products. For example, here they are testing their BMF 585 barometric pressure sensor with the help of this customized jig. So here they just need to insert the sensor and press a button, and if light turns green, that means the sensor is perfectly working. Next up, for testing this accelerometer, they need to manually rotate it in multiple directions and later monitor the readings on this machine to see if it's working or not. And the most interesting testing part was of our favorite Unihiker K10 board. So here, they were having a special machine made by DFRobot team itself, which can upload the program in multiple Unihiker K10 board directly by just connecting it with a USB cable. So at first, they upload a test code through which they check each and every parameter of the product, like the temperature and humidity sensor, light sensor, accelerometer, LED lights, GPIO pins and power pins, along with the camera. And once the product is passed through all the tests, it again connected with another device in which it will program the K10 boards with the factory firmware. And after the final firmware flashing, it will be later sent to the equipment packaging area. So here I didn't get a chance to see the packaging of Unihiker K10, but they were packing then another product which was a battery holder. So in this machine, the person just need to place the product one by one, and later the machine will automatically take the product forward, put it over the plastic package, and later seal it properly. And after that, it will be dropped in this weight scale kind of device where it will check whether the package is filled with the product or empty based on its weight. If it's filled with the product, it will be approved, and in case the plastic case is empty, well, the machine will automatically reject that package. Indeed, a smart packaging machine. But during the complete process of assembling and testing, I was having questions in my mind, so let me ask Rockets. So it was amazing to see you have different kind of jigs and process for testing all the products and everything. But yeah, what if you find some fault in the product, like in the component or anything? So what do you do with that particular product?
Oh yeah, we are repairing it.
Cool.
So we have something can repair, we are repair. But if we have a non-repair things, we are disassemble them.
Okay.
And then for recycle. And yeah, we will have a recycle partner for us to recycle everything for the ecosystem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if it can be repaired, so do we repair it here as well?
Yes. So we just find the repair station.
Okay.
Up there.
So if the product can be repaired, they will try to do it here at the repair station. Otherwise, it will be sent for recycling. So Rockets, after watching all this thing, I'm curious, like, you're having a lot of products which requires a lot of components.
Yes.
So do you have some kind of like warehouse for the raw material as well?
Yes, of course.
Oh, is it? In this building?
Yes.
Oh, can we check it out?
Yes, of course. Why not? Let's see. Let's have a look.
So once we reached the location, I found that they were having two different input warehouse. One was this, where they used to store all the mechanical parts, packaging parts like the boxes, and some stationary parts like the stickers to be attached on the product. So basically, this warehouse contains all the parts other than the electronic parts. And for the electronic parts, they were having a separate and a special warehouse. Let me show you. So this is the input warehouse for electronic components. And the special thing about this warehouse is that this room was having controlled environment. Means we can fix the temperature and humidity inside this room so that it doesn't damage any components. And for some really expensive components, well, they do have a separate cabinet whose temperature and humidity can be controlled separately and precisely. So being into the product manufacturing, well, you do need to take care about these small things as well. And during the tour, I found one really interesting machine to count the small SMT components. So in this machine, they just need to place the reel of the components and press a button, and after a couple of seconds, the machine will count the number using X-rays. As you can see, this reel got 10,011 pieces of components. And this is a really impressive and quite useful machine. So with this machine, they can easily check the quantity, but do they check the quality of the raw materials as well? Well, when I asked this question to Rockets, he took me to the quality department. So at the quality department, they test random pieces from the new lot of the product before sending it to the assembly. So here, as you can see, they are testing the camera modules which will be later used in the Unihiker K10 board. So after all these steps, the product is sent to the final department, that is the output warehouse. So here, they have the final stock of all their products and kits ready to be dispatched to the customers. And trust me, this is a really huge warehouse, and this not just contains the products but also contains the packaging material like the boxes and the foam pieces. So after looking at the warehouse and also looking at several different orders which were already packed and ready to ship, I got a couple of more questions in my mind. So Rockets, you are such a big output warehouse. I am sure there are a lot of products. So, but if I ask particularly, how many SKUs are there?
I think we have almost 2,000 SKU in our website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I heard that like you also do make your custom kits for some institutes which are not on the website?
Yes, we have a lot, some kind of the education kits. So, yes, you're right.
Okay, so maybe this warehouse contains more than 2,000 SKUs.
Yes, of course.
Oh my God, this is such a big warehouse.
So that's why it's so huge.
Yeah. And based on this, I have one question, like how many orders maybe you are getting per day?
I think hundreds of the packages all over the world to send.
Like dispatch every day.
Yes,
wow.
yes.
And who are your like logistic partners?
I think DHL, FedEx, and 4PX, and other local logistics company help us to deliver all the packages to the world.
Oh, okay.
And besides, we have a warehouse in California.
Oh, you have in US as well?
Yes.
Wow. So that has all the SKUs, or there's some
SKUs.
Some SKUs are there in US warehouse as well.
Yeah.
Wow, wonderful. So thank you so much, Rockets, for giving me complete idea about how a DFRobot product is being made from the idea till this shipping part. But I do still have some of the questions, so maybe can we sit somewhere and we can ask?
Yes, why not? We can just sit down and you can ask me any question you want.
Sure. Let's go.
Let's go.
So yeah, Rockets, I do have a couple of questions to be asked, so I'll do them one by one. So first question from my side is, I've seen a lot of products made for makers and STEM. So I want to ask, like, is DFRobot is making product or focusing just on STEM and maker based product, or do you have a focus for industrial based product as well?
Yes, you are right. I have to say that the STEAM and the maker are our foundation. So we will provide a better product for them for sure.
Right.
But the industry application is growing fast. So we have also focused on it. We have a sub-brand for it.
So you have a separate brand for that.
Yeah.
Your still main focus is on makers.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And also, like, I've seen a lot of products in your factory, definitely. But would like to share maybe some of the upcoming new exciting products from
the question is a little difficult to answer.
Maybe a glimpse about
some confident things. So
just for your fans. Some glimpse.
Okay. Let me see that. Okay, I will tell something. AI powered ultrasonic sensor and radar, next generation AI module, and the Latipanda expansion ecosystem. I think a lot of new AI education for K10, M10.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And some high precision environment sensor.
Okay.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we have a lot to expect from you. And now, the last question, which is constantly running in my mind, is as you mentioned at the very beginning that you are not just the product manager at DFRobot, but you also are the co-founder of Mushroom Cloud Makerspace.
Yes.
So I want to understand what is this Mushroom Cloud Makerspace and why you started this.
Okay. I have to say we found our Mushroom Cloud Makerspace in 2030 in Shanghai, not in Chengdu. And in that time, I think the maker movement is just the beginning in China.
Okay.
Yes, and we want to build a community that people can bring their idea into reality. So we found a lot of events. We have open nights.
Right.
We do some workshop.
Okay.
We ask expert to do some
talks maybe.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, by the way, we have almost 430 open nights.
Wow, 430 plus open nights.
Yeah.
That's great. So it's a space for sharing the knowledge and the learners can gain the skills and then can try their ideas to make some projects. Wow, wonderful. So DFRobot is not just selling the maker product, but you're also focusing on building the community as well.
Yes.
That's a very great thing. So yeah, thank you so much, Rocket, for answering all my questions.
Yes.
And thank you so much for hosting me for this complete factory tour. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my honor.
So yeah, with this, we come to the end of this factory tour video, and we also got to know a lot of insights about this company. Now, one thing which I truly admire about this company is that they are driven by makers and for makers, and they're not just focusing on building such amazing maker-based products, but they're also focusing on encouraging and empowering makers community through their maker space. So yeah, that was it about this video. I hope you got to learn something new out of it. And if it is so, well, subscribe the channel to see more such amazing content around electronics. And yeah, with that being said, I'm just ending this video here and now. Just wait for my next video and then explore, learn, share with me, techiesms.